Hello everyone, Edain here, and welcome back to the Edain mod, where today we'll be ranking the heroes for the Dwarves of the Iron Hills. Last time we did Erebor, and this time with the Iron Hills, the situation is smaller. There's only 5 heroes. This is the smallest hero roster in the game. But the reason for that is for the unique thing about the Iron Hills, these beauties back here, the Ram Riders. The reason why I love this faction so much, and even though it may be my least played of the Dwarves, there's still one I will always come back to just to play Ram Riders. I will always rush for Ram Riders, and I will always make them work. So, you might say one of my choices is a bit biased, but honestly, it isn't. One hero on this list is, in my opinion, above all the others by miles. But let's begin, because we don't have a scout hero. We'll just go straight into the two here. We have Merlin and Dra. Merlin in particular starts with some abilities, but mainly the passive that requires both him and Dra to be on the field. And if they're not both on the field, which by the way they're both very expensive, so don't expect to get them on the field at the beginning of the game. You're going to be waiting a long time. But once you do, Merlin becomes a B tier hero easily. Because his strikes knock enemies back, or knock enemies into each other, which is a new type of damage alteration. It's so weird how it works, but it's so cool as well. He actually hits one entity, pushes it back, killing it normally, because his attack damage is pretty good, and then that hit target will then fly back, and anything that gets hit by that flying back target will take massive damage as well. I've tested it before, works really well, really fun hero on just that ability. He just keeps talking to Dra for some reason, but then he's got Defend the Halls. Nearby units temporarily gain 50% speed if they're near a dwarf building. So, you know, that is pretty good, considering that dwarves are typically very slow. You now have a way of making your entire army of slow but very tanky dwarves very fast and charging down the enemy. A very competent mass-slaying tool. Then we've got a bit of a weird one. I wish they would change this back, because currently it still charges backwards. But yeah, it's a backwards charging charge similar to Imrahil, Edain, and Elrond with their charging abilities. I wish they would set it back to be the other way around, because it just makes more sense. It's easier to pinpoint the location, because otherwise you might go too close and it doesn't work, go too far away, and then by the time you want to use it, your enemy has already ran away. It's a weird one. And then finally we have a really good power in Barrage. On a command, a siege machine fires a barrage of shots at the enemy, dealing medium damage to target area, and causes enemies to suffer from fear. So for an example, can't see it, but you know, it happened. Let's send Narin over quickly, actually. Let's see what that medium damage was. That was an entire goblin lair getting destroyed. And goblin lairs, they don't have the most health. Think of that as honestly, a base tier 1 resource building should have a similar amount of health. Yes. And yeah, units can die to this quite easily, especially mass spamming armies, like for example the goblins or Mordor are the best things to use this against. And it's not limited by range, because you can basically use it anywhere on the map. It has such a very difficult to pin down range until I actually get it back on cooldown again to prove it. But another way to prove it is by talking about the other hero of the duo, Dra, who unfortunately, compared to Merlin, in my opinion, doesn't quite fit the build, and why I've put him at D tier. He could do some massive range damage, by the way, if he's also got Merlin on the field, and give out other allies around him bonus damage. But again, this is 4,000 resources in these two heroes alone. That's more than Edain, and honestly, I think Edain is worth more than both Merlin and Dra together. if we're going to talk about it in that direction. But he does have some good abilities. His Pavis, if used properly, throw it on the ground. Any allies nearby in a small-ish area are immune to knockback, so in case you ever get trampled. But honestly, with the dwarves of the Iron Hills, getting trampled is the least of your concerns, except against maybe Rohan or heroic cavalry. Otherwise, you should fear no cavalry as these dwarves. You have bonus armor on all your things. Pikemen are really good. Crossbowmen can get 75% extra armor just for a reduction of half of their range, which means they're going to be even easier to deathball with their fire arrow mass destruction capabilities. So it's a weird one. And if you get too far away from the Pavis, then it will deteriorate. Or should. But apparently... Oh, there we go. Now it's gone. Yeah, it remains on the ground until Dra leaves the area. So if you throw it down and then the enemy runs away, doesn't bother you, then it's unfortunate. If you're using it in front of an enemy base, for example, though, it can prevent some damage against structure damage from archers. But notice how it just says range damage. Doesn't specifically say, like, structure damage. So keep that in mind. It does come back pretty quickly, though. Then focus fire. If I knew how much damage bonus it would give, I might have made him C tier. But because the damage amount isn't quantified on this ability, and all you get for if you target a building, and then if it's destroyed, you then get bonus experience again, temporarily, doesn't give an actual duration, so it's a bit hard to quantify if this power is good or not. I don't think it's very good. I barely use it. I mainly just get Dra for his damage against anything with the fire arrows from having Murren on the field. If Murren is not on the field, Dra does not do much. And then finally, there's the Blinding Barrage, which I wish they would just make like an ordinary barrage that's more focused on doing damage to structures with the structure-destroying hero. And then have the unit-killing barrage on Murren. Anyway, Dra's barrage gives is a basically it's just a blinding barrage. It doesn't do much damage, next to no damage in fact. But the main part of it is reducing the range of any archers, machines, and structures in the area by 50% for 30 seconds, which on paper sounds cool, but in practice it's pretty useless because not only can your enemy very clearly see when this is going off, or not actually, it doesn't actually give it any indicator. Okay, so that makes it a little better. I still am going to put him at D tier though. That doesn't change the fact he's at D tier. But let's compare it to the barrage of Murren, who again, look at that, infinite range. It has a bit of an indicator as to when it's going to go off, so your enemy is more likely to do something about it. But having the equivalent of a arrow volley that does damage to buildings, and comparing that to does no damage, but just makes all ranged units have the same effect as the Iron Hills crossbows. It doesn't sit with me. It doesn't. If it did damage to buildings, I would like it more, but it does no damage, so I can't like it. This barrage though, if this barrage was reduced to only dealing lots of damage to units, I would still think that's okay because that's in Murren's parameters of being a mass slayer. Before we go into, I'm actually going to leave Narn for last because I've got so much to talk about with him. Next up is Thorin, the third Stone Helm, which we've already talked about in Erebor. But there's two key differences. One is in Iron Will. Instead of gaining damage on losing health, he gains bonus armor, which is good. And then his Battle Roar, instead of doing bonus damage to heroes, or all heroes nearby taking more damage, it just makes units flee in terror, so heroes can be more easily spotted. So again, pretty good thing. But does that, personally, in my opinion, make him good enough to be A tier? The problem is no. I don't think he does, because again, you're having to push yourself to really low health totals to just be tougher, to survive long enough to get your revenge off for maximum value. when you could also just use this, and then after that you've got no damage for, well, no, a massive amounts of damage. That damage, by the way, is not his base damage. That's his current damage from Blood Rage. So don't think that's his always doing 1,000 damage. That would be ridiculous. This is also not Dra's always damage. That is with his fire arrow already active. So let's go back to this. Oh no. There we go. Okay, it's gone back down. I was about to say, was I just about to be told wrong by the game? No, I was right. His base damage is 500. It's become double when he uses Blood Rage. And if I was to kill off Murin, then Dra would lose a lot of his damage as well, because that comes from his flaming shots. Just got to keep that in mind sometimes. But yeah, still a really good hero. Still a really good hero killer. When you see him, you run away. But Revenge can miss. It can hit an enemy unit. Less likely to, with Battle Roar, being able to make enemy units run away in fear. Unless the enemies are immune to running away in fear. Which can happen. Heroic units, typically, are immune to that type of effect. Not all of them, I don't think, but some of them are. And then there's also the fact that it's all linked to to cooldowns. Without that extra cooldown, damn it, well, that extra cooldown, Murin does nearly as much damage as Foreign does. So you give up the extra damage at risk by gaining extra armor at risk to then get off your one-hit combo. But then after that, you've not really got anything impressive over that. It's just an unfortunate thing of, because Mithril Mail exists for the Dwarf heroes, he couldn't have a fourth ability, or fifth ability even, to give him something else, perhaps. But yeah, it's cool. It's good. And then we come to Edain Ironfoot, since I'm just brushing over Foreign a bit, sorry, but yeah. He is B tier, same as the other Foreign. I'm not going too much more into it because I've already talked about it quite well in the last one. If you didn't see the Arrow video, watch that one as well if you want. Then we come to Edain Ironfoot. Now, comparing him to King Edain, he is not he's not like a faction leader hero. He's considered a mass slayer. I think he's a mix between mass slaying and army leading. Because when he's in the fight, he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. By the way, he's B tier. He just gets stronger and stronger and stronger with every hit he does. It's not like with one hit, then massive damage boost, and then you have to wait for it to come back again later. As long as you're hitting at least once every 20 seconds, you're going to be dealing more damage. Dealing damage in an area, gain bonus armor, and then throw enemies around, and he doesn't get knocked down. So he will become an indomitable fighting force. Then he can make enemies get stuck in this ruptured ground, leaving enemies knocked down and then slowing them after that. And if he's at full rage, full redded out from Rising Rage, the slow is doubled, so 60% speed reduction. Add that up with the extra 50%, that's 110% faster, because think about it, than your enemy, which is incredible. Then he can mount and dismount on his boar at will. It used to be that he could only do that at full Rising Rage. What? Oh, Stop labouring, labourers. I'm trying to talk here. Anyway, where was I? Edain. Yes, so unlike his king version, which when he's mounted, he just has a damage aura around him. He now just doesn't slow down when trampling enemies on ruptured territory. Although this used to be you could only mount when you had a Rising Rage full at 10. So you can only 10 attacks and then you would have a temporary mount. Now it's a permanent mount, doesn't matter either side, but still Rising Rage fully will build up. You'll still be doing AoE damage, hitting stuff, and you've got cavalry to run around with. So the ball makes much more sense with Edain than it does with King Edain. And then finally, another reason, how is there more labourers? Stop it. I'm trying to talk. Don't need the announcer. And then finally we have the Army of the Iron Hills, which will summon Iron Breakers if you're on foot, which was normally what would happen before the change. But now, he can summon Ram Riders. Ah, right, it doesn't work if I don't have the... Let's get some storerooms going, and we'll come back to that later. But yeah, this does make this version of Edain, in my opinion, a B tier. Two of his abilities aren't doing, like, a lot, but they are doing something. And it is a lot better that Edain can run around at the right speed with Ram Riders. If you look at their speed together, just have them running together, yeah, you can see these are the same speed compared to the other dwarves, the dwarves of Erebor, only having the battle wagons, which were a slower unit. But yeah, Edain, really like him, really cool. You don't often get him because he's a bit expensive, and with these dwarves, I always just go Ram Riders full on, and it takes a little bit of time to get you to mount on your boar, to then have another hero with your rams. But that's where we have the cream of the crop, probably the best dwarf hero in the game, Norin, who is your cheapest hero, the closest you have to a scout hero, because technically your scouts are the Iron Hills Scouts, which is 100 resources. You get it. You get a single Ram Rider which can run around, has decent scouting vision, which is good compared to most scout heroes. But then we also can turn them into Ram Riders. But how do we turn them into Ram Riders? You get Norin. He is A tier, easily A tier, one of my favourite dwarf hero. And he has all the tools in his kit to back up that statement. Firstly, level 1, all heroes, heroic and elite units, which includes, if I'm not mistaken, all heroic units and elite units and heroes in the game. Not just your Iron Breakers, not just your Ram Riders, not just your Khazad-dûm Vets. All of them. So if you're playing in a team game, this effect is giving all of them bonus armor and bonus experience. Having him first is mandatory if you want to be getting everything high level, especially in team games. And this persists 30 seconds after he is out of your area of influence. Very few things in this game have a lingering leadership, other than heroic statues and maybe one or two other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. Anyway, next up, ceasefire. Make an enemy hero impotent or a monster impotent. They can't attack, cannot be attacked, and any abilities that they use during that ceasefire of 30 seconds will take twice as long to recharge. If a big enemy hero, like, for example, Sauron is on the field with the One Ring, any hero with the One Ring, you'll tell him for 30 seconds, hey, chill out, chill out. We'll kill your army first, then we'll deal with you. It's not very often I actually use ceasefire, because most heroes will just get destroyed by Ram Riders. And are normally on their own when I play as the Iron Hill, so I just, again, kill them with Ram Riders. But then we have the main reason why Ram Riders kill them, the battle command. All Ram Riders in this area, including Norin, gain plus 50% damage for 30 seconds, but lose half their speed. But losing half their speed can be a bit of a double-edged sword if you don't use it properly. If you're using it when you're in the melee, in the final charge, it's perfect. It's a rallying call on doubled up, which is great. And the fact it can also affect Norin, who does do, at base, only 349 damage, but then make that about 500. You have 523. That's as much damage as Thorin does at base. On a hero that only costs roughly between 1400 and 1500. I don't actually remember. He's one of my favourite heroes. I don't remember what his actual cost is. Now then, I'm sending over to the other side of the map. I know he's moving a bit slow because of battle command, but there's a reason why I'm moving him off the map. Because of the last ability, the Alliance. Sends a raven to promise an allied hero his support. Target hero will not take any damage for 10 seconds. If you have, for example, a Murin, a Draw, a Thorin, or a Edain that is a little bit low on health, about to get destroyed by, say, a Hero Slayer that you spy out of the corner of your eye, uses ability. And notice how I just turn around and ability was used from all the way over here. Now, does the invulnerability only kick in when the Raven comes to the hero? I do not know. That's why I'm testing it right now. Where's the Raven? Where's the effect? There's the Raven. And there is the effect. Okay. So, yeah, if you notice that your hero is in a bit of trouble, so for example, a Balrog comes out of nowhere, you want to guarantee your hero gets away, and Nora's on the other side of the map, use that, save a hero. You're playing with a team, and they've got a hero you want to save. Like a ring hero, for example. Alliance. You might not get it in time, but there's a very good chance you will. And that's 10 seconds of vulnerability. After about 10 seconds. Which is insane. He is A tier. Top of the A tier. One of my favourite heroes in the game. I will always build him first. I'll always build him to get Ram Riders straight away. He is the reason why I love the Iron Hills so much. Him coming out and then Ram Riders being able to become, well, the scouts being able to become Ram Riders through just his existence is what makes this faction so fun for me. It's what makes me want to keep coming back to the Iron Hills, because honestly, the Iron Hills can get very bland. I have one play style with them, and I never get bored of it, because the Ram Riders are just insane. They're amazing. They just do everything amazing, and I can't ever fault them. And that's enough of me talking up the good game for the Ram Riders. And Norin in general. Who also, if you haven't noticed, got a new model with 4.8, and it is glorious with those twisted horns on the Ram as well. Love him. Anyway, that's enough for today. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all learned something. And I'll see you all in the next one. The last of the Dwarf factions. Farewell.